Thanks for joining us, Kamren Stowers. You came to light recently, although I'm sure you're fairly well known within your community, but you came on my radar because of your candidacy and a chance meeting at one of the first Wednesday art walks downtown. So just interesting to have a chance to meet Kamren Stowers personally here and see where we are. So tell us a bit about one of the things that strikes anybody about your background is, of course, the issue that you are a first responder.
Yeah.
Tell us, what are some of the issues that are facing first responders, your firefighter in particular, but tell us what are some of the issues that are facing your profession within Duval County, and I'm sure the same things would apply nationally.
Right. So some of the issues that we have, of course, for the last 2 years have been COVID, and that's been an issue across the world. But we're doing what we have to do to move in the right direction and move forward and protect ourselves and stuff like that. But as far as anything political, I don't have any issues within the firehouse or the fire station within that. It's just the issues that are affecting the world, and we're taking care of it the best we can.
Now, a lot of us watch a lot of television, and two shows that
which is a negative and a positive, by the way.
Exactly. One of the things we do on this show, we'll be doing on this particular podcast, is that we're going to review from TV and mostly movies from time to time at the tail end. But what strikes us non-first responders who only know what we see when the trucks roll by and the ambulances roll by, we wonder what's going on, or how it's happening, or we happen to see you at a place. But how much of a reality for the shows that you might have watched, from what we see on television, that the television firefighters go through, NBC's fire
911 and Chicago Fire,
and they got a new one, Station 19. How much of what they encounter do you guys encounter?
Probably 10%. And that 10% is probably the drama, per se. But as far as the, oddly enough, I don't watch any firehouse related TV shows at all, because it kind of boils my, I'll say my blood when I see these unrealistic things going on and knowing that that's not how it works. But, you have to provide the drama for the TV. So I deal with it from time to time. But for the most part, no, it's not real at all. For the most part.
Now, we have not had, to my recollection, that many active duty firefighters considering running for city council. No more than we've had active duty police officers running for city council. Obviously, some have run after they've left.
Right.
Now, it appears to me, given the endorsement issues that are out there, that may happen. And this is a partisan seat. There's always the issue of, well, he didn't get the endorsement of the fire union. I've run for office before, and back in the old days, it was more important for me to get the police, the firefighters endorsement than the police endorsement, because the firefighters had the best sign shop in town, in the county. If you got their endorsement, then you had no problems getting signs out and getting them on the street, because that cancels that expense of having to worry about getting them printed. Now, times have changed. I don't know if the sign shop is still where the sign shop is, or if the union is still carrying it. But do you have that in the back of your head, that could be an issue for you as you come up on those last 4-5 months of the campaign? You're now about 1 year and 3 months out from the primary. But is there a concern for you that you might not get the endorsement of your brothers?
No, I listen, I don't think about that. So one thing about negativity, I try to keep that as far as away from me as possible, because when you start to think negative, it really plays a part in every aspect of your life, and you start to do things like you already lost. So I definitely want to start by saying, the beautiful part about it is I don't work for the city of Jacksonville. I work for a defense contractor, Northrop Grumman, which is out of St. Augustine Airport, and we build military aircraft. So that's a beautiful thing. So it's not a conflict of interest with me running for a city council and being a firefighter. I'm still state certified like every other firefighter in the city of Jacksonville. And those are my brothers. My actual brother works for the city of Jacksonville. I brought him on as a firefighter as well. But to answer your question, as far as getting an endorsement, the brotherhood is going to endorse who they feel is the best candidate for them, the best qualified candidate for them. I'm not looking to get endorsed just because I am a firefighter. I want them to endorse me because they trust what I'm saying and they believe that I'm going to push the city in the right direction. So if they feel that way and they endorse me, I'll be happy about it. And if they choose not to, I'm still going to be happy. I'm still going to support the firefighters because those are my brothers at the end of the day, and it's a brotherhood.
Now, you have put forth certain issues that are of concern to you for District 9. How long have you, I'm taking it, obviously, that at this point you are, in fact, a resident of District 9.
Absolutely.
So tell us a bit about Kamren.
Okay. So
who is Kamren Stowers?
Kamren Stowers is a 31-year-old male out of Jacksonville, Florida. I actually turned 32 this month. So my family is predominantly raised on the east side of town. I actually moved to District 9. With me working in St. Augustine, that's a 42-minute drive, 4 days a week that I take down 95 to get to St. Augustine. I'm actually a real estate owner. I own about, right now we're about 12 properties. We house about 15 families though. And with that being said, I provide affordable housing throughout the 09, 06, and 08 area codes. So 3 people I house young adults that are aging out of foster care between the age of 18 and 22. As long as they go to work or school, the state pays for their room and board. They pretty much have a room, all inclusive, lights, water, electricity, everything is included in my homes. Another third of my homes is I house brothers that have got out of incarceration. So when you get out of prison and you have a felony, it's really hard to get a job, apartment, or anything. So they come and rent a room out in my house for me, from me, and they have shelter, and that's all inclusive as well. So the other third, because my houses are broken up into 3 thirds. So the other one is just Section 8 single moms. And I've taken a lot of pride in not raising my rent over the last 5 years. And because I bought my houses at such a low, this was pre-pandemic, of course, because I was able to get houses for a very low market and get into these neighborhoods that no one wanted to touch. They didn't want to touch 09. They didn't want to touch 06. They didn't want to touch these neighborhoods and these communities because it wasn't pretty. It wasn't walking distance to the nearest Starbucks. Meanwhile, my family stayed in these zip codes, and I felt the need to invest in these zip codes. So I do that as well as being a firefighter, and just every aspect of my life surrounds around helping other people, from being a firefighter to providing affordable housing to running for city council. So I have a lot of stuff going, and I'm looking to continue the change that I'm making in the city, of Jacksonville and District 9.
Wow, that's pretty deep. What encouraged you to open up housing for formerly incarcerated personnel, folks coming out of prison? What was
right?
Was there any personal relationship you had, or you just saw that as a need?
Well, it is a need. The problem is a lot of people don't feel the need to fix the need, right? Because the worry is, where they're coming out of prison, they're going to be this kind of person. So let's touch back on what you said earlier when we mentioned TV shows. We watch all these TV shows and we think someone getting out of prison is supposed to be this kind of person. They're supposed to have this kind of behavior, and that's the furthest from the truth. A lot of these guys just want a second chance. I haven't had any problems out of none of my tenants that I've gotten out of prison and, trying to have a second chance in the community. The world has gave up on them because they have a felony and they committed a crime. I don't ask what your crime was. I don't, because I'm not going to make you feel like I'm going to judge you by the crime that you did. You did your debt to society, and you did your debt. Now it's time to come back and give you a second chance so you can have a new chance at life and make a change That's all we want them to do. And I'm giving them the benefit, and I'm giving them a chance to do that. So I like to say all the time, the hope that I have to change Jacksonville, I give them hope, and hope changes lives. So that's my motto that I go by when it comes to my business and how I do things.
Mm. Now, that's something that could bring it, certainly bring that, will bring a great deal of city council. Now, District 9, along with District 7, and part, which includes part of your district, well, a major part of your district includes that zip code of 32209, which is
Correct.
has one of the highest poverty rates, highest crime rates in the city. What do you see? And I think you've already partially answered a bit of this, but do you see, what do you see are some items that are going to help reduce the crime rate and hopefully reduce the poverty rate within that area, which isn't gaining, unfortunately, although there's some nice new looking houses on the corner up there at Beaver, and I think that's Beaver and Tyler, Beaver Street, right as you cross the viaduct. There's some new homes that have been put up across the street from they've been there for some time now, but they're relatively new across the street from the church up there, Beaver Street viaduct. And there's some other new homes that have been placed in there for folks to stay. But what do you see has to happen in that zip code to continue to lower the poverty, and you can equate that to the crime rate? What's going to have to happen or continue to happen?
So what my goal was to implement more trades and vocational schools and give an opportunity to develop hands-on skills, right? So this is the way I look at things. Being a firefighter is a trade. You don't have to have a college degree to do that. Being a police officer is a trade. You don't have to have a degree for that. So it's HVAC, plumbing, being an electrician. These things are trades. So the goal for me is to implement these trades and push trades into these communities, because if you have a skill and you can use that skill to feed your family, and if you can use that skill to feed your family, you're more prone not to commit a crime to try to feed your family. The bottom line is all crime is committed. I'm not going to say all, let's take that back. Most of crime is committed because I'm trying to get some money to feed my family. That's the bottom line. Because I don't have any money, my back is against a wall. Now I have to do something that is possibly going to get me incarcerated to be able to feed my family. But if you have a skill that you can do with your own two hands to go out and be able to make money, you're more prone, I feel, not to commit a crime. I know this because throughout the whole pandemic, I can tell you who wasn't short of work: plumbers, electricians, HVACs. Those guys wasn't nowhere near short of work, because I know how much it costs for me to get them to come out to my houses and do any work. So the goal, I think, to prevent a lot of crime in these areas is to give them an opportunity to be able to have work and create work by giving them a trade that they can do. All these houses being built in Jacksonville, it's enough of work to go around if you have a skill or a trade. And all of these trades you can complete all these trades in less than a year.
Well, how as a city council person, it's one thing to be on the outside and have the freedom to work the plan, which is a good place to be, because as long as you're not in city council, you've got some freedom. Now, once you were to get elected, do you anticipate, I've seen it, that you have less freedom, believe it or not, to work some of these plans? How do you think as a city council you're going to be able to work these plans, to work the plan? Because this has been talked about a great deal. I mean, the Warren Jones, who was city councilman there, and for almost before, well, he was there before they put in term limits. He managed to serve almost 20 years on city council, got to be city council president one time. Now, you know, he's over at the school board now. I guess that'll be his last job that he has in. But and then the current candidate, the current occupant of the seat, has gotten through his 8 years with a bit of, I would say, radicalness in his approach and relationship with the administration, with the mayoral administration. How do you anticipate getting some of these actual things done once you're elected to office? without with the constraints that some see you'll have as an elected official?
Yeah. So first things first, I want to say Warren Jones. I actually met him a couple of weeks ago for the first time. Seems to be a great guy. And Garrett Dennis, we haven't officially met, but I've heard a lot of positive about him as well, as far as what he did for the District 9. So saying all that to say that I'm a businessman first, which means I'm a negotiator. Everything in life, I don't believe in the word no, right? So I can negotiate anything I want, any obstacle in the way. Listen, how can we do this to do that? What do you need from me to make this happen? That's the bottom line. And I just don't believe in the word no. The problem of it is a lot of times, I don't care what position you in, some people hear the word no and they completely shut down and feel like, you know what? Somebody said I couldn't do it, so I'm not gonna do it. It doesn't matter what position you're in, we're all humans. So with me, I'm a man of action. If I tell you I'm gonna do something, that's just the bottom line. That's gonna get done. And I'm a man of resources, so I can make some things happen with the resources that I have. So that's how we're going to get stuff done. It's very simple, but it's just the bottom line is action and moving forward. I do that in every aspect of my job and my career in any business I own, because obstacles come into play. That's just the name of the game. Can you push past that obstacle? It's what changes the game.
So what do you anticipate? What's the first piece of legislation that you would anticipate putting forth once you got in city council?
Well, I definitely want to push the education and crime and public safety. Of course, affordable housing is a hot topic right now, but I think that's going to be a long road ahead of us, unfortunately. But as a first, I want to push the education, which would be the trades and the vocational schools. I want to push that because that's something that we have all the resources in Jacksonville. FSCJ. They have all those resources at hand, and we just need to promote that and get those resources out to the public. So that's one thing I can do on day one of being in the office.
Well, education is a broad subject, and we have a massive Duval County School Board, and within your district, you've got Edward's University.
Absolutely.
That's there. You don't have a trade school, but they do have some efforts there. You have a major university
criminal justice
within
and
your
stuff.
bounds. What do you talk about? When you talk about you want to push education, those are nice broad political sayings that everybody uses.
Yeah.
If you're a city
Absolutely.
councilman, you don't have a whole lot of say in education. When you talk about education, what do you talk about? You got to put signs in the yards and on the corners telling people to stay in school, or what are we talking about here?
No.
I mean, are you gonna solicit a Kaiser University to put a branch in 32209? What are we talking about?
So, of course, you're right. Education is a very broad term, but when I speak of education, I mean of trade school, vocation school, like I spoke about just a tad bit earlier. Education is pushed across the country. I don't have to push going to college. The world is going to push that. I'm pushing vocational school to where you can go get you a trade in 6 to 9 months and be able to feed your family for the rest of your life. That's what I mean by education. So as far as FSCJ, they have a lot of vocational training courses and certificate courses that you can take. And those courses, you can be able to make a salary that'll probably be equal to a bachelor's degree salary. So that's what I mean by education.
How are you going to get the word out about that they don't already have?
Well, listen, I'm a millennial. We can definitely get the word out. The resources that I have and how I think is much different than my elders that are in office right now. Me being 31, our generation needs somebody who they can, who's going to represent them, and they need somebody who they can look at and say, you know what, that guy understands where I'm coming from. So as far as getting the word out, that's not even a word to me. That's quite easily, to be honest. Rather it's social media, right? It's radio, rather it's being a presence and literally getting people there and not knowing. In our culture, we know by following, right? If 100 people walk out of room right now, you're going to say, where are they going at? Let me see what's going on. So that's what literally happens. We get enough of energy drummed up to push towards that vocational school. The masses are going to say, what's going on over here? I never seen that as an option. And prime example, I didn't understand. I became a firefighter when I was about 24, right? Prior to being a firefighter, I thought you had to have a degree to be a firefighter because I was uneducated in that field, in that area, until a brother came to me and mentioned that, hey, he was a firefighter as well. The brother came to me and mentioned that, hey, you ever thought about being a firefighter? No, I have, but I thought you had to have a degree. He said, no, You take a class, you get certified, EMT certified Florida State firefighter. Within 9 months, I was a certified firefighter in the state of Florida. Saying that to say, my life changed in 9 months because somebody spoke it to me. How can, if I know it did it to myself, then it can happen to anybody else. 9 months of dedication changed my life. Look where I'm at now. So saying all that to say, the vocational school and trade school is what I'm pushing in the community, and the masses will come. We have to put it out there for them to get it, to receive it though. We have to let them know it's there. That's first things first.
All right, what are the other things that the city councilman does? A major part of what the city council does every year is the budget. What items, and I think you, again, you're partially answering this, but I think we need to be kind of specific here, because the mayor proposes and the council disposes concerning the budget, which is a major issue of yours. What items, I'm giving three. What three items would you look to place in the budget should you take office in July of next year?
Well, of course, we're going to push infrastructure, because that's always a thing that our city is growing with. And I'm super appreciative of our city and proud of our city for moving forward in that direction. And as far as budget, it's a couple items that I would push, but we can definitely discuss that another time. I'm doing more research on those items, so I can't give you a definite answer on that right now, because I'm doing more research on those things. When I give an answer, I want to be confident and be able to stand on my answer, because I don't want to speak to Mr. Fred Matthews in 3 weeks and my answer is totally different, because at that point, people start to question me, and I don't have a problem with saying, you know what, I don't have a 100% answer right now. Let me get back to you in 48 hours, do more research, and I can answer that for you.
Well, I would strongly suggest you want to take a look at the budget items, because that's a major part of what the city council does. Yeah, again, as I said, the mayor proposes, you guys disposes. You got it's a thick volume that comes out every year. With that, I've sat through a number of budget meetings before it got to the city council, because every department comes before the mayor's budget review committee to give their say and put their input in it. And then, and occasionally a city council person will sit in on those review meetings, which, by the way, should be open to the public anyway. And therefore, they have some preparation for what they want to see by the time it gets to the council. But it's a big deal. And for District 9, is as much of it as you have, because you've got part of Riverside in your district, which is growing by leaps and bounds over there, as well as what's happening in the Mixon Town area in the center of that. And then, of course, you move up down Fairfax and Spires and Myrtle Avenue, all that. You got some other kinds of issues there that could use some help road-wise, as well as that. Crime is a major thing for that district, but development, one side of the district is developing quite well. Another part is still trying to struggle to find its way from what's already been there. Tell us a bit about what you see for the future, again, of not just your district, but Jacksonville. How do you view Jacksonville's future? You're one of the young people, you're young by my standards. You're one of the younger folks who are going to be shaping the city going forward. How do you view Jacksonville? Is it, you know, a lot of folks were concerned that we didn't do what Atlanta has been able to do. But, you know, over the last 20, 30 years, we've done, it appears that we've done fairly well down here. We still don't have that big thing, but we got a football team and we got we got a football team, and we have, you can play any sport that anybody else plays here, including hockey. Goes to a hockey game. Imagine that all the way down here. But how do you see Jacksonville in the grand scheme of things, of places to live, and how its future is going to go?
So with me traveling the world, I did a lot of traveling throughout the world and the country, and I'm very happy and very excited for Jacksonville. We're moving in the right direction. We're turning our downtown into a quote unquote real downtown, say the least. And we're definitely moving in the right direction. I'm happy about the new ideas that are coming into Jacksonville, making it more modern. With JTA having the new vehicles that they're launching in 2025. I don't know if you know anything about that. The autonomous vehicles are launching in
Autonomous vehicle.
2025. Yes, and I've seen them. Great idea, great idea. I heard about it about a year and a half ago. Didn't think too much about it, of course, because things change a lot. But seeing those new vehicles, it brings new hope for Jacksonville that the younger millennials, Gen X, will want to stay downtown and move downtown and bring more jobs downtown. That's the goal. So I'm really happy with the direction Jacksonville is going in, and I think we have a lot of work to do, of course, but we're moving in the right direction, and that's all that matters. One foot in front of the other.
Mm. Race continues to be an issue for many in this area in Jacksonville. Going back to the initiation of the consolidated city that we have. Many feel that it could have been as big a deal as what happened in Atlanta had we not consolidated. Others, of course, and see that it benefited many of us because obviously it expanded the tax base, allows us to do a great deal of things we're doing right now. And even though a lot of the sewer septic tank issues were not solved in the timeline that they were supposed to have been solved, at least they are being attacked now and addressed now.
They are.
How do you see, has race been an issue for you as you've come up in, and although you're not directly a part of the Jacksonville firefighter union and that sort of thing, but has race been any issue for you to be concerned with? Is it an issue in the district that you're running for?
So let's be frank, Mr. Matthews. Race is an issue in America, right? So it has nothing to do with Jacksonville, has nothing, it is America as a whole. But we're not going to let that be our excuse and our reasoning why we don't progress forward and move in the right direction. As far as it being an issue for me per se, I'm a Black male in America. Let's just leave it like that. I don't look at that as that's not going to be my excuse why I don't run for District 9. That's not going to be my excuse why I can't touch the people. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what gender. I don't care what sexuality you are, because we need change together. As long as we stick together, we're going to make that happen. So race being an issue when it comes to the race and the campaign I'm running, no, it's not an issue. But if we're talking about the country as a whole, of course, it might be an issue. But as far as with me, Kamren Stowers, no, it's definitely not an issue to me when it comes to my race that I'm running.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit more about what you are looking to do. You touched on 2 or 3, but my key here is that your district has so many needs. You touched on the issue of getting more education in there, bringing in more trade programs, at least getting more companies interested in putting more trade programs in there, and housing, which is part of what you're already into, and not just housing in general, but housing for those who need it most, those formerly incarcerated in those areas. What about the infrastructure needs there? Have you looked very much into infrastructure needs for your district?
Yeah, infrastructure needs is throughout the city. It's not just, literally in my district, as we know, throughout the downtown area. And yes, I've looked at it in my district, still looking over it, because this is a day-to-day thing. This is I'll say not the rules change, but the opinions change on a day-to-day basis. So I stay up to beat when it comes to the research on that. And we're going to try to get more, like, of course, with me being on the edge of the Riverside area, I think we should have some bike lanes, and let's start from the ground. Let's start from there. Let's start by fixing the potholes in the street, because we're talking about my community being, like you mentioned, the crime or something like that. I strongly believe we have to give these communities something, because they feel like they never had anything. So if a community feels like they never had anything, you have to give them something. That's not shoot for the moon right now. Let's start at ground level. Let's fix the potholes in the streets that we hit on the way home. Let's fix the railroad tracks that you pass and it's tearing up the bottom of your car. Let's start at this ground level, and we can slowly build it up to where it needs to be. but we can't put a skyscraper per se in '09 if we don't fix the potholes and the foundation that it's going to sit on. So we have to start at the ground level first when it comes to the infrastructure. And I'm still doing more research on that and which direction will be best for us in going that direction. But at the same time, we're progressing forward, and I got a couple things in mind that I want to do on a very lower level, because we have to start somewhere. That's just the bottom line. We have to start somewhere. So I believe in starting on the ground level.
All right. Kamren Stowers, I appreciate your time today.
Absolutely. Thank you.
I'm looking forward to having you come back again when you had a chance also to take a closer look around. We're going to delve deeper into some of the issues that that you're facing, that you'll be facing should you get elected, and some other issues that are coming up within the council's purview there. There'll be a couple of things that are coming up here. Unfortunately, fortunately for you, by the time you get in office, the redistricting issue will have passed, and you'll live with the district that's carved for you.
Right. So sorry to interrupt. My district isn't changing. District 9 isn't changing as far as redistricting. So I'm completely, it'll been unpassed, but it wouldn't directly affect me. And as far as the budget we mentioned earlier, I'll be sure to do more some ground concrete work on that, come up with some good answers for it. And we be sure to mention that next time we speak.
All right. Look forward to that. Again,
yeah, absolutely.
Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Look forward to it.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate you having me, Mr. Matthews. Look forward to working with you again and getting a cup of coffee with you one day.
Amen.
Absolutely. You have a great day. Be safe.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
1. Being the Ricardos on Prime Video, let out released in 2021. I call this a triumph, quite frankly, of cinematic acting and writing in particular. I gave it 9 out of 10 stars.
This is places for scene A.
Scene A.
Action.
Lucy, I'm home.
Why is this coming out now?
Lucille Ball's a threat to the American way of life?
Does the FBI have any case against Lucy?
I need you to help me save my marriage.
How many times I gotta explain where I was and what I was doing?
You gotta explain.
You being funny right now?
I'm Lucille Ball. When I'm being funny, you'll know it. This is getting out of hand.
Madness.
Have you been cheating on me?
The story's made up.
If they boo me,
If they boo you, we're done.
sorry. I got lost for a second. You're my hero. I care about what works. I care about what's funny. I care about you.
Oh, you're scaring the shit.
I was just gonna say, good show. Good show.
Good show.
It is the scripting of Aaron Sorkin that is evident in every aspect of this teleplay that you should add to your should-see list. It is hard not to appreciate anything that Javier Bardem and Nicole Kidman star in, and this movie gives them ample opportunities to show off their considerable talents as they truly make you believe they are Lucy and Desi. Known more recently for his insurance commercial spokesman job, J.K. Simmons, coupled with Nina Arianda, again with the words of Sorkin, give new insight into Fred and Ethel Mertz. The violence here is verbal, but equally as physical. The staging and editing take the viewer into how it was done back in the late 50s when I Love Lucy was filmed before a live studio audience. All of the elements are here for great filmmaking, although parts of it will bore those with no Lucy knowledge. I'd watch it again. Being the Ricardos, add it to your should-see list. See you again next time on the next edition of To My Way of Thinking.